this place was a lab a long time ago, and playing through this game now just has me so fascinated because, like, when I was a kid, I never really paid attention to Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow's storyline. It was just like, oh my god, Team Rocket, you guys are evil because you're trying to steal my Pokemon. And then I never think back to, like, what about all the other Pokemon they've stolen? What about everyone else's Pokemon? What about the poor Marowak that they murdered in front of its Cubone child, you know? It's just like, I mean, some people do think of these when they're kids and they're first playing through these games, but I, as a child, did not think about storylines. I didn't think about lore. I didn't think about any of the stuff. When I was playing a Pokemon game, it was just rah rah rah, kick him in the knee, rah rah rah, kick him in the other knee. Y'all might have heard that one before. It's old, but like, since playing things like Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White, and like going back and playing my older games, it's like you really get a stronger sense for the story. It's undescribable how much a story can change based on, like, the times that you play it. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, that's kind of like, I guess that would be a good question for me to ask you guys then. Have there been any games that you've played as a kid, and that place is locked, have there been any games that you played as a kid that you went back and played, like, later on in life, and everything was so totally different the second time around? Because you understood things a lot better. Or because you understood things a lot less, maybe. February 6th, Mew gave birth. We named the newborn Mewtwo. That right there. Never would have understood that as a kid. Like, I was like, I didn't know Pokemon could give birth. Of course, back then they really couldn't, because it was like, there's no eggs in the first gen games. Oh my god, I just keep ranting and ranting about storyline and how much it's changed, but I don't know, that's like a legitimate question that I want to ask you guys. I think I've already said it like 3 times though. Has there been a game in your lifetime that you played once and really enjoyed or really didn't like or whatever? Like, you make one opinion on the game, and then you play the game again later on in life, like many years later, and everything just totally changes for you, whether it be your opinion of the game itself, or its story, or how things look, or things like that, like anything. I mean, I've already said it like 6 times, but for me it's always the story. Because games I played as a kid, I just liked because they were games, they were fun. They were just entertaining to me. Now I try and play games. I've been playing a lot of more single-player games because I've been wanting to enjoy the stories. Like, yeah, I don't know what else to say or how to elaborate on that. So instead of continuing to elaborate and explain, let's just beat up this nerd. He sent out a Magnemite, level 33. Zapata, it's your turn. Let's go for the dig. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like drained just from ranting about storyline. I don't even know if I can finish this. Hell yes, I'm gonna finish this. And that, like, that's... Sorry to keep going back to the rant, but that's exactly why I want to finish this game now. Like, I was kind of not really into it in the first few episodes of this, because it was like, you know, just a substitute Let's Play for Knights and Devil May Cry. since my computer had died. Or since my laptop had died. This was just kind of like one of those things that I was going to start and probably... I originally didn't plan on making it this far. I probably planned on getting like 2 badges and then just stopping because it was like, this isn't really that interesting. Then I start to like go through it, like I start to really understand a lot more about it. Like, you get to really understand more than just Team Rocket is bad, fight them. You understand why they're bad. They steal Pokemon, they steal rare items. Not even rare items, they just steal anything that could possibly assist them in their personal goals. They do anything. Like, I mean, they're publicly viewed as evil. Yes, that much is true. And then many of you know that, like, one picture or quote that goes around, like, Giovanni was trying to save us all and whatnot. Which is where you really get the, like, different insights of the story. But, going on with why I've continued this series, it's like, as soon as I got my Game Boy Advance cartridge for this game, like the legitimate cartridge that I found on eBay and bought and caught up to the Let's Play with, which wasn't really that hard because it was only 4 episodes at the time. I just fell back in love with it because it was like, okay, I have these Pokemon. They're going to be my best friends throughout the series. Throughout this game, I should say, not even just the series. But, like, aside from that, it was just, like, start going through Mount Moon, start recording that part, and then you learn, or not even that you learn, you first encounter Team Rocket for the first time in the game, in Mount Moon. And you find out they're trying to look around for these rare fossils, which, you know, that's kind of cool. You just have these, like, they don't really seem like bad guys immediately. They're just looking for fossils and rare items, or not really rare items, but items that could help them in their own lives. It seems that way. Then you find the ones near the end of Mount Moon who are like, we found these rare fossils, or we heard there was rare fossils in here. We're going to take them before anyone else, and then Team Rocket will rule and whatnot. Now it's like, okay, these guys have a bit of like a bad presence about them, which is where you really get like, you really start to not really hate them, but it's like you start to have a little bit of discontent towards them because it's like, okay, they're trying to get all the good stuff before everyone else. Like, they're trying to take everything before anyone else has a chance to try getting it for themselves. And then you get to, like, Cerulean City, you go through Nugget Bridge, then there's the guy at the end of Nugget Bridge who's part of Team Rocket, and he's like, we're Team Rocket, we steal Pokemon and all that stuff. And then it's like, really? You're gonna steal Pokemon from these innocent people? And he's like, yeah, you wanna join us? And, you know, you're immediately like, no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who's like some hero and then decides to turn evil. And then he battles you and all that stuff. And then when you get to Cerulean City, you beat Misty. And then you start to exit. You find a cop. You find a police officer outside of a building. And they're like, oh, these people were robbed by Team Rocket. And then it was like, what? Really? I just battled a Team Rocket dude. What have they stolen? And it's like, you should just take a look inside for yourself. So you walk in, you see the whole place is just trashed. And then there's a hole blown in the back of the house, which is conveniently part of the route towards the next location. You find the Team Rocket member, and then he's like, oh, I'm not a Team Rocket member, I just conveniently have this TM that I stole. You just... And then over time, you start to, like... You get the story bit by bit. But at first, it's just like, you're a Pokemon trainer, go out and have an adventure. Which is really cool. That's a good place to start. And then you start to meet the bad guys who are, like, there in the middle of your journey to become the very best. Oh my god, I swear this has been like a 15-minute rant just about me telling you guys about the story of Pokemon, which, if I recall, y'all already know. Oh, hey. I mean, it helps, considering I'm, like, not as lost anymore. Apparently when I rant is when I get unlost. Let's see. Okay, that's the way out, so we don't want to go there. We want to go downstairs. Oh, this is the room that we want. So we can't go there. Oh no, repel wore off. Dang it. Like, I really... Let's just go with this. Overall, Pokemon as a video game series, Mewtwo is far too powerful. We have failed to curb its vicious tendencies. See, that... Brilliant! You don't have some people just slapping the story in your face. You don't. You just have, like, you have these notebooks around that will tell you the story if you read them. Other than that, and Team Rocket's, like, ominous presence around the game, the story is go and be the very best. Like, but Pokemon as a video game series has, I'm not gonna say changed my life, even though it kind of has, but as a video game series, Pokemon has really affected me with its seemingly thin storyline. Like, it has a thick story, has a huge story to it, has a fairly thin plot line, though. Yes, story and plot, for those of you who don't know, are very different things. Story is the story that it tells, and plot is the progression. If you want it to have a good plot, you would need to follow the story, which involves reading all the books, looking through everything. You know, it's just... It's one of the wildest. I mean, I've played a whole bunch of different types of games, like, in my life at this point. But hardly any of their stories really, like, get to me as much as Pokemon does. But, like, its story changes dramatically based on when you play it. Or based on how you play it, I should say. If you play it for story... then you're going to be looking at everything. And we got the secret key, blah blah blah. We got TM22 Solar Beam. But if you're playing it for the story, you're going to be looking at everything and, like, finding yourself interested in everything. If you're playing it for plot, then it's going to be a pretty, like, swift game for the most part. You're not really going to find much. Anyway, I think I've ranted long enough. I'm going to leave the question right here. Have you played a game in your lifetime once, and then you have one opinion on it, and then you play it years later, and your opinion just dramatically changes on it? Like, have you played any games that have triggered that kind of effect? I guess would be the best way to ask that question. Anyway, that's all for this episode of Pokemon Leaf Green. Thank you guys for joining me on my rant and my trip through the Pokemon Mansion, which on the outside does not look burnt at all. But we will take on the 7th gym in the next episode. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Later.